Welcome back to the channel, y'all. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. Without further ado, let's get right into the story, the topic at hand. YNW Melly. If you don't know about the story, YNW Melly is a rapper who was on his rise to superstardom. He was making noise in the industry. People like Kanye West reached out to him when Kanye was really hot, not like he is fizzled out now. And, other celebrities, he was well on his way. And then, out of nowhere, boom. What looked like a drive-by shooting that claimed the lives of YNW Melly's two fellow bandmates, YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, actually, according to law enforcement in the state of Florida, said it was a murder setup. The Murder on My Mind artist actually executed two of his friends for whatever the reason is. And now he faces a double murder trial with the death penalty on the table if he is found guilty. There's a lot of rappers out here that are in prison right now or in jail, and they're doing like a life sentence, or their trial is pending and they're facing life in prison. But YNW Melly is actually facing the death penalty. YNW Melly recently went up for bail again, trying to get out so he can fight this from the outside, given that his trial is approaching and should be here sometime soon. However, the judge said nah. So for the third time, YNW Melly has been denied release on bond. YNW Melly has now been incarcerated for over 6 years, locked up in jail. He recently had a trial, and his trial ended in a mistrial, and now he will be retried again. So YNW Melly will remain in jail as he awaits a retrial for double murder following a Florida judge's decision to deny his request for house arrest. On Monday, that just went by, Broward County Circuit Court Judge Martin Feen ruled against the motion to set bond for YNW Melly. Now, if you want to know why the judge denied him bond, the judge said that the strength of the state's evidence and its consistency with the record from YNW Melly's initial trial is the reason why. Listen, let me break that down for you in baby terms. The judge believes he's guilty. Or, at least, the judge believes that the way the state laid their case out, and all the evidence that he's seen from the first trial, that's enough to presume guilt. And if he is guilty of a double homicide, a double execution, then this is not somebody that you want to let out on bail. By the way, there is no bail offered in a murder case, especially a double murder case where the death penalty is on the table. So YNW Melly's team, they tried all different kinds of ways to get him out. His rights were being abused. He was being isolated and medicated, and he's not seeing his family and, all types of stuff. But it's not working. Judge Feen reviewed some testimonies from the first proceedings and some arguments that were presented during a recent Arthur hearing, which permits bail consideration in otherwise non-bailable cases. That is what a Arthur hearing is. I just told you that in a case like this, a capital murder case, there's no bail. However, a Arthur hearing would permit bail considerations in a case like this. Now, in his written order, Judge Fiend stated that the prosecution's evidence is arguably sufficient to convict and wasn't contradicted in a material respect to create doubt about Melly's guilt. Wow, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. That's pretty much saying the judge believes that the prosecution proves their case, that Melly is guilty. You know, it's just a matter of waiting for him to go to trial and then watching the trial play out and leaving up to a jury to decide yay or nay. But if it's personally up to the judge, which it is, in this case, where bail is concerned, the judge has made his decision, and the judge can very well say, because I know a lot of people are going to hear this and they're going to say, well, isn't it supposed to be innocent till proven guilty? Yes, it is. But you got to understand that he is charged with capital murder, 2 counts. And not only that, the law before YNW Melly stated, being charged with that, you automatically have no bail. So already he was in a no bail situation. His lawyers somehow found a way to get to a Arthur hearing, which could have granted him bail. However, the judge who saw the first trial looked over all the stuff they got and decided again, nah, he looked guilty to me. I'm not trying him. The courts are going to try him. But I just feel I will be setting the sentence after the trial. But I just feel like he's guilty based on all I've seen. So he can't get bail. Now, Jamie King, who is YNW Melly's mother, she would comment on the judge's ruling. And she said something like this. She claims that her son's defense did not do enough to convince Judge Fiend. She wrote it on Instagram. It was denied because the defense did not put on any evidence or witnesses at the bond hearing. We are not done fighting. But here's the thing. At a bond hearing is not where you put up evidence and witnesses. That's at trial, right? But you got to understand his mama wanted her baby out. He'd been locked up since he was 19 years old. He'd been locked up for 6 years. He's pretty much growing up into manhood in prison, or in jail rather. And his mom's just watching him, be incarcerated, and she can't do anything about it. So out of her frustration, she's now blaming the same team who's been working so hard to save him, saying that they didn't do enough. There's nothing else they could have done. Anyways, she vows that they're not done fighting, and Melly's attorney proposed strict house arrest, just like everybody else who goes up for this. They have to say what they're going to put up. Are you going to put up a couple $1 million? Are you going to put up a multi-million-dollar property? Are you going to agree to 24-hour surveillance and security watch, house arrests, etc.? So Melly's bond package, his attorneys proposed a strict house arrest terms, including 24-hour security and GPS monitoring. And they argued that he posed no flight risk. He wasn't going to run anywhere. They noted that he doesn't even have a passport, and he has remained in custody without incident since 2019. Prosecutor Justin Griffiths pushed back immediately. The prosecutor pointed to the serious nature of these charges, that YNW Melly is faced with. He said 2 counts of first-degree murder and witness tampering since he's been in here. That's grounds to keep him incarcerated. The last thing they want is for YNW Melly to use his clout and his connections on the outside to intimidate witnesses, to sway the outcome of this case. The 26-year-old rapper, born Jamel Demons, is accused of fatally shooting his close friends, Anthony YNW Sackchaser Williams and Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr. on October 26th of 2018. Prosecutors allege that Melly staged the killings to resemble a drive-by shooting after a late-night recording session in a Fort Lauderdale, Florida recording studio. Both the victims were also a part of the YNW collective, hence the names YNW Melly, YNW Sackchaser. They were also childhood friends. So it was like he sacrificed his best friends for stardom and fame. Some people are saying that was some devil shit that happened and he sacrificed them. Like you got to shed blood and make a deal with the devil to get higher in the rap game, to get to millions of dollars and sell millions of records and popularity and fame. Melly's first trial, that ended in a mistrial. And that was in July of 2023, after the jurors declared that they were hopelessly deadlocked. Well, how it actually really ended was one juror decided she was a fan of YNW Melly and she was going to find him not guilty no matter what evidence they showed to her. So she kept on voting not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. And then it was stuck at 11-1. And in the last minutes before it all closed down, she won over another juror, and then it became 10-2. A subsequent bond request submitted to the judge, John Murphy, who presided over the original case before he retired, was also denied. Judge Murphy denied him bond and went into retirement. Honestly, I think this is the case that sent Judge Murphy into retirement. Judge Murphy was like, you know what? This one right here is getting too messy. It's too high profile. Too many moving parts to this. It's a good time for me to retire. And the judge did. And the case was handed over to Judge Fiend, who has it now. Well, both victims were aspiring artists and close friends of YNW Melly from childhood days. Melly's first trial concluded in a mistrial, like we said before, and families of the victims are also consistently opposed to any attempt to release Melly on bail. This case has since grown more complicated because the judge who oversaw it first, Judge Murphy's ruling to suppress digital evidence, data that was pulled from Melly's phone, social media, and emails, that prompted an appeal from the prosecutors because the prosecutors are saying, no, we need all this stuff in there to prove our case and to put the nails in the coffin, so to speak. This ended up stalling the momentum of the trial. So the trial went from this date to start till another date to start till delayed to indefinitely till recently they finally gave a start date for the new trial. That suppression became a major flashpoint, triggering a reshuffling of the prosecution's team and further delays. Meanwhile, Melly's civil rights attorney, Michael Pizzi, he filed a lawsuit in the federal courts accusing the Broward County Sheriff's Office of violating his client's constitutional rights. That lawsuit claims that YNW Melly has endured long-term isolation and has been denied access to legal counsel. You can't do that. That case is ongoing in the Miami federal court. So he has a case against the Broward Sheriff's Office right now as we speak, while he awaits his murder trial. As it stands right now, YNW Melly's retrial is set for September. That's about 4 months away. But with legal complications mounting and key evidence still in question, the road ahead seems a bit uncertain, and the trial might not even start in September. We'll keep our fingers crossed to see. At the end of the day, like I said, he's been in there since 2019, 6 years and counting. And I think it's time for them to put this one to bed. Guilty or innocent, I've already predicted what I think the outcome will be. If you've been watching, you know. If you haven't, watch our previous videos concerning the YNW Melly trial and leave your comments in the comment section under this video. I'll catch you on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.